I guess you're gonna have to move to go back in.
Mark, do you want me to move to, oh, yeah, I was gonna say, to move, go back in.
Yep.
All right, I move that we go back into open session.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we were having a little bit of technical difficulty. We're back up, back on the record. And Mr. Kibler was just wrapping up, I believe, 3.02?
One.
Oh, 3.01?
Sure, yep, so the results of those climate surveys are all posted, so we got through that, and then, I guess, the next one, if it's okay to start, are calendar options for you all to see. So just a little bit of background. So these calendars were created with input from both the Citizens Advisory Council and the School System Improvement Committee. We started by going over with those groups our COMAR requirements that we're required to follow, as well as Queen Anne's County Public Schools past practices. One thing that we did add in this year for the calendar is an extra day of new teacher orientation. That was at the request from the new teacher survey that we did.
No video.
So, not good?
They can hear though, correct?
Yeah, so we're still in the,
Okay.
we're still
I don't know about sound.
recording audio, I believe. Just keep that in mind. And we don't have any video, apparently. We're not streaming, so.
Lemon says on his phone that YouTube and Facebook are going.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you not find that, Carrie? Sometimes there's a delay. to get
Yeah,
that.
there's definitely a little bit of a delay.
With the satellite.
Yeah, and
Sure.
then come back down, yeah.
Like a multicolored screen with it spinning and spinning
You
and
got it
spinning.
on the cell phone. I'm recording it.
Okay, as long as you're recording it, we can post it,
Right.
so.
I guess.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
yep.
Well, let's move forward then.
All right. So we did add an extra day of new teacher orientation back in. That was based on feedback of surveying our new teachers this year. It feels like we could use that extra day from 3 to 4. Option A is a very close mirror to this year with how we set the days. It does start after Labor Day. There's no election day in the next school year, and there's no Halloween off just when Halloween falls during the week. Calendar option B, that option starts before Labor Day and has a spring break built in still. Option C starts after Labor Day, does not have a spring break. One thing that we tried to do with these two committees is we did reduce the number of half-days in the fall semester around conferences at the request sort of both groups, both the parent group, the Citizens Advisory Council, and the School System Improvement Committee. The one thing, these are the options that were constructed in those two committees. So if we would go with A or C, you'll notice there's still a professional development day at the end of the year. The School System Improvement Committee is highly pushing that if one of those options were selected, we'd move that professional development day back to the beginning of the year. They really feel like they need that fifth day of prep at the beginning of the year. After we did 2 meetings discussing calendar with those groups, November and December meeting. November, I sort of got feedback, then went and built the calendars, then presented the options in December and sort of massaged them. After that, the versions you're looking at right now, we polished and we did survey both the SSIC and the CAC. The SSIC, 14 of the 19 members of that group got back to me. 100% of that group voted for option B. The teacher group really feels strongly that they like 2 things for everything that's been going on in the world with COVID and stress. Preserving spring break for them is important. They think the students benefit from it. They also prefer to start the week before Labor Day because it really gives you an extra week of instruction when you consider like state and national testing at the end of the year. So it gives us those extra few days at the beginning of the year when you sort of start later and push those days off to the end, you lose a couple instructional days before all the high stakes testing comes. The Citizens Advisory Council I had 13 of the 17 members respond to the survey. 77% or 10 of the 13 voted for option B. 3 of those 13 voted for option C. The folks that were on option B were really kind of in agreement with the teachers and supported the teachers' opinion. I will say the 3, that other contingent of folks on the option C, they do feel like a full week of spring break inhibits or makes it difficult on parents to find childcare. So they liked starting after Labor Day to give the full summer, and they liked the shorter. That's really just the 3 days of spring break, and that again, that was 3 of the 13 respondents versus 10 of the 13 that were on option B. I also want to make sure I relay that the Citizens Advisory Council, they advised me and wanted me to share with you that even if the results of their survey was sort of overwhelming to one calendar, they would still be supportive if you all decided to poll families for their preference. So I did ask, I was like, hey, you guys are overwhelmingly telling me one option here. Would you support just telling the board to go with that? And they still liked sort of the option of, or wanted you to know that they would be supportive if you polled the community.
Sure.
A couple other things, the questions that were raised when we were talking about that before Labor Day versus after Labor Day start. There was a concern, well, what's attendance like before Labor Day? The difference is really negligible. There's really no difference when we start before or after Labor Day, so there's no pro-con there. And really now what I would like, I'm requesting is sort of for next steps, what would you like me to do about sort of, before we bring this to you for a vote, the intent was on February 1st, you have a policy that says that we will distribute 3 options to employees. It does not mention it doesn't mean we can't. Past practice, there have been years where we've polled families, but the policy specifically only says that we would ask for input from staff.
Does the state approve this? We need to send this to the state, right, at some point?
Well, you guys make we make a recommendation, you all approve.
Right.
And then whatever's approved just gets sent to the state for their
As l-
records.
I
to
mean, they might
post.
check to make sure we're adhering to their
compliance with-
parameters,
yeah,
which we
with
all
180
three of these
days
options
and-
are.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
but we've got time then to put it out for public comment, public review and public comment. if
We
were to-
do, we just want a vote on February 1st, so we can put it out tomorrow and say, hey, vote on this and get as many as possible by February 1 and certainly share those results.
Yeah, I tend to lean with that. I mean, I so appreciate the work that the CAC and the teachers group did. It looks great, but yes, I think it's important to get our past practice has been to get the community, and I think that they would probably like to have that voice on the calendars. But it's great that it's already, well, we did that last time. There's your options and kind of.
Sure.
So what
That's right.
I guess I'd
That's
propose is in the next day or two, Monday at the absolute latest, get it out, open it for a week, share results with you
Sure.
at February 1st. The 3 calendars, the way they sit, are okay, though, I guess.
I think
Yep.
so. But that's just, I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I think it's great.
Yeah, that's good.
Dr. Kevlar.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Yeah, it's me again.
Okay, Dr.
that-
Kevlar. Safe return?
Yeah, the safe return plan. So you might remember I brought this as well in August. We are required to have a safe return to opening plan every 6 months. It extends as long as we have ESSER funding, the American Rescue Plan funding, through August of 2024. It's just how we are responding to the COVID-19 pandemic in our schools. You'll remember the first 2 iterations of this. We did make some changes. There were a few changes in September. We don't really make many changes in mid-year, especially because COVID really hasn't been an issue for us. So the plan has no changes from September other than changing some dates of when I'm bringing it to share it with you and share with the other stakeholder groups that needed to sign off on it. But I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Questions?
No.
Thank you, Dr. Kibler.
All right, now I will go away.
All right.
Thank you.
3.04, Mrs. Towers, it looks like you've got the balance of the information items for us.
Good evening, President Schifanelli, Dr. Salins, board members, executive team members. My name is Jane Towers, CFO. What a difference a week makes. Tonight, I bring before you the Uniform Guidance Compliance Report. It's an informational report. This is a yearly report that's required, and it's basically a schedule of expenditures of federal awards by the Uniform Guidance. So as you can see, just some highlights I want to just share with you really quick. On page 8, that starts with they call them clusters, which is basically the different types of funds available. So you have your Department of Agriculture, Treasury, and then it gets into your MSDE federal reports. And then we finish off on page 10 with your Health and Human Services. So in FY22, remember, this is just federal awards. It was $13.3 million that was expended. When we take a look at page 13, which is most important to me and my staff, the findings are none, and the questionable costs, there were none.
Great.
Great. Well done.
The next couple items we bring before you tonight are first reads for policies 3.0 through 3.09 for your review, and it's slated to come back to you on February 1st. And I'm going to
Okay.
keep going if I'm on the
Yeah.
roll, okay?
Well, yeah.
The next one we bring is an action item before you this evening. It's an action item for leasing for 130 Dell Latitude laptops for the special education staff. We're looking to utilize the Merck contract here, and it is 4 annual payments of $36,017.91. Mr. Coombs will bring before you the actual vendor to approve that. This is actually just financing the lease option. One of the reasons why we do a lease for special education is we want to be mindful of the maintenance of effort that we have to sustain year after year. And if we have a huge increase one year, then that's what we have to maintain in years to follow. So we want to be strategic with cash flow and that in mind. So do you have any questions on the lease?
I don't have any questions. Anybody else? Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we
We don't need a motion, right?
Oh, we
It's
don't?
information.
It's an action, no,
It's
it's
an
not.
action.
Sorry.
Recommend that the board approve the leasing of the Dell Financial Services in the amount of $144,071.64, which is the amount of the $135,850 plus the 3.99% interest over the 4 years. The budget source would be unrestricted current expense special education budget for the Latitude 3420 staff laptops for the special education staff.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You
Jane.
too. Okay. 4.02, Mr. Combs? Ms. Combs?
No, that's, where, Josh, are you? Josh first, sorry.
Oh, Josh first?
Yeah, sorry.
Steps.
We're going too fast, I'm just like,
I know, yes.
it's okay, it's all good.
I see Jane just brought this up. That's fine. Good evening, President Schifanelli, Dr. Salins, Chiefs Board members. For the record, my name is Josh Combs. I'm the Technology Supervisor. Asking for approval for that lease in order to purchase those 130 special ed laptops. We've reached the end of their warranty. They've been running for about another 6 months beyond that, and they're really just they need repair. We're just having a lot of issues with them. So, and then we just got to the latest price, and so they even using the MEEC government contract, we were able to get even really good pricing on these. These are brand new. This time we were able to go 5 years warranties instead of 4, so we get a whole extra year with these without costing any more money. And this should cover all of our current special ed staff and then some of our contractors. We have some speech pathologists and things that are kind of outside people that still need equipment, so it'll cover everybody.
The question, if it's a 4-year lease, but we're doing a 5-year,
Doing a 5-year warranty, just because they basically, for free, they gave us an extra year. We were able to get 5-year warranty instead of
but when
4.
but what happens after the 4-year lease? I mean, I
Well,
would
the
think.
We would
lease
own
is
them.
that we've owned them, so it's a
Oh,
lease
so
to
we're
own.
not gonna just do it.
Yeah, we don't need to
after
get rid of them
okay,
that
okay.
quickly.
So after the 4 years, we would have paid it off, so they're ours.
Right, I just thought
We
we were
just get that
leasing like we
extra.
do our automobiles and our,
No.
you know, our
Those are le-
copiers that we would
Yeah,
then,
good point. No,
change
lease
them
to
out,
own.
okay.
This is a lease to own, yeah.
that'd be no point.
Yeah.
All right, Thank you.
No problem.
Good clarification.
Good question.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. President, I move that we, that the board approve the 130 Dell Latitude 3420 laptops through the reseller data networks for $135,850 via a 4-year lease. Fiscal dollar amount, $135,850, as I said, and the budget source would be the unrestricted current expense special education budget.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, Giebert. Giebert, yeah. Angela Giebert.
Okay, 4.03. Mrs. Giebert.
Thank you. Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Schiafinelli.
You got it.
Saying that correct, President?
ma'am.
Board members, executive team. I'm Angela Giebert. I'm the early learning facilitator here in Queen Anne's County. I am coming to you asking approval for the purchase of 6 interactive boards to use in 2 schools, 2 elementary schools, Sudlersville and Churchill Elementary, in our pre-K classrooms, and we're also going to use 1 in our Sudlersville Judy Center. These interactive boards really support and enhance our learning in pre-K settings. Part of our expectation in terms of our accreditation standards is that we use technology so that children are exposed to technology, but appropriately. So these are very interactive. They're teacher guided. They are embedded with a software program that has 10 different activities that children can do that address the domains that we address through our Maryland Early Learning Standards. Don't know if you have any questions, but we are piggybacking off of the Anne Arundel County contract for Best Fit for this type of technology use in early childhood.
And so these are large screens, right? And they're, I
This-
presume they'd be, for example, in the front of the classroom or, you know, obviously.
These are unique. They are large boards on wheels or a screen, so it could be used for whole group instruction by the teacher. But they can also be turned to be actually like a table that children would stand around and interact with the board, which is a touch screen.
Okay.
So, for example, one of the software activities is a puzzle. So if a teacher were to go on a field trip, for example, take a picture of children on the field trip, want to talk about that with the children and go over what they learned, they could put the picture on there, turn it into an actual puzzle, say how many pieces of the puzzle, the children could interact, put it back together, talk about it, that kind of thing. They can use the board to mix colors, to draw art, look for, in terms of literacy, one of the literacy, they call them bubbles, might be the alphabets on the screen as they're standing around, and they might all be trying to locate all the A's on the board, uppercase or lowercase, depending on what they're working on. So it really taps into our standards very nicely.
And what's the warranty on the screens with?
You know, I'm not sure I can answer that question, but I can look it up in our contract, I'm assuming.
Who doesn't?
I don't know that, I'm sorry, I don't know that I know that. That's an excellent question.
It's not listed.
It's not on the quote that we had attached to our.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
she
that
has
it's
the
on there.
contract.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm not, I would probably need to go back and contact the company to make sure I can answer that accurately.
Angela, does the company provide a support to the software
Yes.
implementation? So that
It's
to me
an
is kind of the
ongoing-
same thing where they support that product for a given period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Typically we'll go many, many years before the company will finally say, we don't support that product anymore because we've upgraded so many times. But usually at that point, we're either moving to replace it because it is so outdated that
Well,
we
it's-
can't do
Right,
as much.
except
with
I
it.
have
We
seen
purchased-
like our laptops that we give the kids.
Right,
I mean,
we have a
as
warranty.
kids, well, and they break within a
break
few
'em, yeah,
months, and then
yeah.
they get replaced, and
Yeah.
like, I know at the Naval Academy, for instance, those 18-year-olds will tear a door up that was supposed to last 20 years, and
Yeah.
in 2 years, just
Well, we can
because-
certainly provide that, Angela can research
Yeah,
that and
no,
provide that to you. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to
Thank
have
you.
a
Thank you very
partner
much.
like this. I'm sorry, didn't think about that primarily because I've purchased these kinds of things before, and usually we just contact the company, they come out. I will tell you, I've purchased a lot of smart boards type of things and technology, and they'll usually go beyond even the warranty time. They really want you to use their product, and they will often upgrade the software for free after the warranty times.
Yeah, well, it's not even the software, I guess I was thinking, because it's so touch for all littles, that it might be a little more challenging to, yeah, that's all. All right, well, thank you, though, thank you, Dr. Sprinkle, I
Thank you,
appreciate
Dr.
that.
Smigiel, that was awesome.
All right, any other questions? No?
Mr. President, I move for the purchase of 6 Kaplan Inspire Plus interactive boards for the pre-K classrooms at Suttersville Elementary, 3 of them there, 2 at the Churchill Elementary, and 1 at the Judy Center at Suttersville Elementary School in the amount of $43,175.70. Budget source, fiscal year 22 pre-K expansion grant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
I'm excited, I can't wait to play with them.
Thank
It's
you.
cool, you actually can
Don't
mix
break 'em.
colors.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, like
crazy.
literally, like they
I'm gonna
take
be
'em and
moving
mix.
my office.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in the pre-K class.
I know.
You're
But,
gonna be reading every day to the pre-K class.
Exactly.
Exactly, from that board.
where's Dr. Salins?
Okay, so we've reached the point where we're done with our action items. Future meetings and events, February 1st will be our regular school board meeting starting at 6 p.m. And February 8th, 2023, we'll be back for our budget work session, beginning at 4:30. Anything else for the cause, as Mr. Smith would say?
Nope.
All right,
Motion
hearing
to
nothing.
adjourn?
Second.
All right, motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody, and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.